Hi, welcome to this session on the case study where we were discussing how one could do forensics, network forensic on a captured file. We saw that we could use Wireshark and other tools and go through a tedious process of looking at each and every data. Obviously, I mean you have to look at each and every data and then slowly form the case on what has happened. Okay, so, in this section we will find out and understand that it is not only, I mean the whole tedious process could as well be automated and you could get a much more elegant solution. Okay, obviously you have to do a lot of work to get this elegant solution, but then in this, by automating the process you should be able to get more and more tools. So, what could happen is that you could start accumulating these tools at one point in time and then this could itself form a kind of a weight forensic tool to quickly get the evidences. Okay, so, let us take a look at how you could use the command lines or a programming language to quicken up the whole job. Okay, so, in this case what we are going to discuss is the solution that was provided, okay, for this problem and which won the best prize. Okay, so, what this author has done is he has written some 2 or 3 scripts, okay, using Perl and he has also looked into the protocol. Okay, he has reverse engineered the protocol so that it is able to dump the packets in the protocol. So, and you are able to identify all the packets very quickly, etc. Okay, so, let us see how this person has done this. Okay, so, what has happened is that you can actually take the evidence file, okay, and then pcapcat can be used, and then what he does is he is actually extracting the conversation, okay, that has happened, and you could go to his to the solution website and identify actually the source code for these files. Okay, and what has happened is once he identifies the conversation file, he goes ahead and then you can go ahead and look at this. You can use the XXD, which is the hex editor, okay, or view the file in a hex format, and you can just go ahead and take and then go through this file, and which will also give the similar letters to what we did last time, I mean using our Wireshark. Okay. So, if you look at this, you are able to see what is the username. So, here is the secret recipe, I just downloaded it from the file server, just copy it to the thumb drive and you are good to go, and then and then there is this recipe.docx, okay, etc., all these things, and we saw that the user was SEC 558 user 1, okay, and you can see all the information that is there. Okay. So, the recipe does doc, and then here this person says see you in Hawaii and all those things. So, the same thing with what we did with Wireshark, we could also do with this command line. Okay. Then what we could do is we can use the string command, okay, and go ahead and get all the strings that had happened in the conversation. So, this is another way without using Wireshark. We can just use this command line and then identify what are all the strings that are used. So, let us identify. We are storing it in a file called evidence.str. And once you look into the file, okay, so it lists all the strings that are there. So, and this is much more readable for us. Okay, so, you can go through it. Obviously, it is a big huge file, and we have looked at whether there are any HTTP messages, and in the HTTP message we are particularly interested in establishing that the name of this person. Okay, so, if you look at SN, okay, parameter, so we will search for the SN parameter, okay, which will tell what is the login name of this person who is having a chat with the other person. Okay, so, we will have to go through this file and then we will search for SIC 558 user 1, which is supposed to be the login, which could be the login name. Okay. And if you look at this, we will go ahead and find out. Now, remember, this is the prompt that you will usually get in a protocol. I mean, so what we will do is, and so if you look at this line, okay, it clearly says that, okay, this SN, okay, so this person has tried to log in into America Online Web Server. So, this establishes that this person, whoever it is, say 558 user 1, it could be the same person or it could be a different person, but we at least know that this is a login ID of the person. So, this person is the one who has had a conversation with the other person, and we got what the conversation is all about. Then what we will do is, we will now go ahead, having established this, we will now go ahead and write and use one more script, command line script. Now, this will identify what are all the conversations that has happened, okay, between the particular machine and the other machine from the evidence.pcap file. So, what we will do now is, we will try to find out what all the conversations that has happened between these two people. Okay. So, we will try to see, we see that there has been connections that have been established between 192, 168, 1.2 and 157, then 159 and 205, then 159 and 158 and 159 and 64.236.68.246. Now, what is of interest to us? So, that is website 80. Okay. Now, what is of interest to us is this 192, 168, 1.158. Therefore, we will try to look at this conversation, particular conversation, okay, and see what has happened here. So, what we will do is, so I mean, using other tools, you can actually find out what type of protocol, and you can use strings to find out whether OFT has been used, etc., etc., etc. So, all these processes you have to do, and finally, after we do this, what we can do is, we can take the third conversation and try to extract what is the document that that these two people had exchanged. So, in this case, for example, we will just take out this pcap file, okay, and then write this information to something called as new file, okay, from the third conversations, okay. And what we can do is, if you do a cat of new file, okay, and then pipe it to say a hex editor, okay, and then look at the top 4 bytes, okay. So, as I told you, so it clearly says that it is a OFT2, okay, protocol is there, okay, this XSD file. So, then what we could do is, you could decipher, try to decipher this protocol, okay. For this, you might have to write some kind of tool to decipher this protocol. So, the person who solved this problem has given something known as OFT cat, okay, and what he does is, this tells you that from this OFT cat extract this recipe.doc file. How do we extract recipe.doc file? You first identify the fingerprint that you have at the top, and then the start of the file marker and the end of the file marker. So, if you look at this, he has written a script which actually takes the Oscar file transfer protocol and then deciphers this protocol and then collects the data packets from this. So, so in this case, as I told you, you should understand what this protocol is, and then once he finds out how this protocol works, then he actually takes the file recipe.docx and saves it as our file rec.docx. So, how do we know that this is a docx file? Okay. One, you are able to guess that the person said that recipe.docx. So, that is one, but that I could actually send it as even as a text file and then say that it is a docx file. So, usually people do it when Gmail says that such executable file cannot be sent, people usually convert it as txt and then send it, and Gmail accepts it. I do not know why, but it accepts it. Okay. So, similarly, okay, so how does, so someone could cheat that this is, so what we do is, all these kind of files have some sort of a signature. I think we discussed it in the last module. So, what we will do is, we will try to see what is the signature of a docx file. So, we have got a rec.docx. So, what we will do is, we will do a hex dump of rec.docx, and then send it to more. Okay. And if you look at this, if you look at the very first byte, it is 504B, almost all docx files, okay, have this keyword. Okay. So, if you look at let us take some other docx file. Okay. So, let us say testing.docx. Okay. So, hopefully that is a docx file. So, this also starts with a 504B. You can use the tail command also if you want, but let us go to the end, and you see something like 504B appears here again. Okay. And there is a 3E2B. Okay. Let us see which one is the signature here. So, here it is 504B, okay, and this is the end of the file. So, this 3E2B actually makes the marker as the end of the file. So, based on this 3E2B, you actually know that, okay, this file starts with the one that we saw here. Okay. So, between these two files are the markers, okay, for your docx. So, in this way I will be able to identify, okay, what is extract the contents of the file, and in our case, for example, we found out that this is a docx file, therefore, these are all the two boundaries. So, you cut the hex and then make it as a file together and then you just display it. Okay. So, this process has been automated in the script that is given there. So, in this way, so let us look at the learnings from this kind of forensic analysis. The first thing that we should do is that, yes, there is going to be huge amount of data and every data is important. Okay. The second one is that you might have to first get an overall picture of what has happened. So, what you do is you do some kind of a flow. Okay. You take the flow, so you can do a packet analysis, then you have to do a flow analysis, then you can do a protocol analysis. Okay. Once you do all three, then you have to do data carving and extraction. So, the last step was data carving and extraction, where we use the OFT cal file, okay, the OFT cal program. Okay. And before that we were trying to identify, so for example, the commands like strings and all that, we are trying to get an idea of what has happened. So, this is in short, okay, a small case study on how to go ahead and do forensic activity. So, we have seen the theory before, and in this case study we have just briefly covered, okay, how to do this activity, but there are a lot more details. So, our suggestion is that you go to that forensiccontext.com website and then take this case and then read almost all the solutions that others have come up with. So, because different people have come up with different solutions, and what we have seen is two such solutions. Okay, there are many other solutions that are there in the website. Please go ahead and review some of those solutions and see how people have worked on getting the data out. Thank you very much.